Penguin Random House Audio presents Stuart Wood's Finders Keepers by Brett Battles. Read for you by Jason Culp. Chapter 1. "Unless Larry says I missed something, I think that's it," Ben Whitman said. He was CEO and lead architect at Whitman & Whitman. The other Whitman, his father, had retired over a decade earlier. Ben was the designer of the Arrington Group's newest property, the Arrington Vineyard. The nearly completed resort was the reason Stone Barrington, Mike Freeman, and Marcel Dubois had come to Martha's Vineyard that day. "That was everything on my list," Larry Chandler said. Larry was the project manager. He oversaw every aspect of construction in preparation for the quickly approaching grand opening. "Gentlemen, we can't thank you enough," Stone said. "Despite the setbacks, you have delivered as promised, and then some. I have a feeling this could become our most popular property yet." "I agree," Mike said. "My heart will always be with our Paris hotel," Marcel said, "but I can't deny that the Arrington Vineyard will be a close second." The sentiment was understandable, as Marcel oversaw the Arrington properties in Europe, the Paris hotel being the first of that group. At one time, the land upon which the Arrington Vineyard was now being built had been split between three separate properties, each with a lavish mansion. All three had been owned by Stone's late client, Shepard Troutman. But the homes had been burned to the ground by the same people who had subsequently planted a bomb in an airplane Stone was flying with Shep and Shep's father on board. Luck had been on Stone's side, and he'd survived the semi-controlled crash into the sea. The Troutmans, however, had not. To Stone's surprise, Shep had left him the Martha's Vineyard properties and a good deal more, with the hope that the land would be turned into an Arrington resort. After several supply chain-related delays, that dream was finally coming to fruition. Now all that was left to do was complete final details, train the staff, and prepare for the Arrington Vineyard's grand opening, scheduled for the following month. The brand would expand again next year when construction on the Arrington Santa Fe was completed. Ben and Larry escorted Stone and the others to the waiting Suburban in front of the resort's main building. "Thank you, gentlemen," Mike said. "We'll see you at the next scheduled meeting, which I believe is sometime next week." "On Wednesday," Ben said. "If anything unexpected comes up before then, we'll let you know." Hands were shaken and goodbyes were exchanged. Stone's phone vibrated as he climbed into the SUV. He answered the call. "Are you in town or out of town?" Dino Bichetti asked. He was the New York City Commissioner of Police and Stone's best friend. The two had been NYPD detectives together in the distant past. "Hello to you, too," Stone said. "And I'm out of town, but heading back." "In time for dinner?" "In plenty of time." "There's a new place Viv wants to try out called Liesel's." "I've heard of it. It's supposed to have great steaks. I'm in." "7?" "Works for me," Stone said. "Alone or plus one?" "Alone." "You know, you'll have to get back on the horse at some point." "Goodbye, Dino," Stone said and hung up. It wasn't that he'd purposely been dateless for the last month. Holly Barker, the woman for whom he'd drop everything, was occupied campaigning for her second term as president. And Monica Reyes, the last woman he'd been spending time with, had taken a job in San Francisco, leaving him at loose ends. With a busy month at work and the grand opening of the Arrington Vineyard, he hadn't had time to rectify the situation. "Let me guess, Dino?" Mike asked. "One and the same. We're having dinner at Liesel's. Marcel, I know you're heading back to Paris, but Mike, you're welcome to join us." "I appreciate the invite," Mike said, "but I'll be in the middle of a video conference call with Singapore." "The entire country?" "Selected representatives." "Then I guess I'm stuck with Dino, and Viv, if she's not on your conference call." Dino's wife, Viv, was COO at Strategic Services. "She is not, but if she does show up, she won't be alone." "Oh?" "She's helping our new Chief Technology Officer get settled." "New to the city?" "Brand spanking. Arrived yesterday." "I look forward to meeting him." Mike smirked. Stone was sitting at the bar at Liesel's, awaiting Dino and Viv's arrival, when the man next to him pulled out a phone, glanced at the screen, then let out a derisive huff. When he noticed Stone, he said, "Evening." "Good evening," Stone said. "I'm Paul Weston." "Stone Barrington." "Cool name." "I owe it all to my parents." "That's funny. Tell me, Stone, what is it with women?" "I'm not sure what you mean," Stone said. "My date was supposed to be here by 6:45. It's almost 6:50 and not a peep." "That doesn't seem that egregious." "Maybe you're used to being stood up, bud, not me." He huffed again. "She should have at least texted me, right?" "Have you tried contacting her?" "Why should I? She's the one who's late. She should be the one contacting me." "I see." Stone turned back to his Knob Creek, hoping that would end their conversation. Weston tapped his arm. "Am I wrong?" Without looking at him, Stone said, "Not for me to say." "Then I'll say it. I'm not." He checked his phone, as if a text might have snuck in while he wasn't looking. From his frown, none had. "If she wasn't loaded, I'd be out of here. Know what I mean?" Stone's silence was met with another tap against his arm. "Know what I mean?" Weston said. Stone could think of several responses, but he doubted the man would have reacted well to any of them. Instead, he grunted noncommittally, hoping the guy would take the clue. "Stone, do me a favor, and don't let anyone take my seat, will you? I gotta hit the can." "I'll do my best." As Weston stood, he said, "Thanks, buddy," then patted Stone on the back, like they were the best of friends, and headed toward the restrooms. Stone glanced at him as he walked away, thinking that Weston's date would do herself a favor by not showing up at all. Stone was about to turn back to his drink when he noticed two men across the bar area watching Weston. They were both large and held drinks that looked untouched. When Weston turned down the hallway toward the restrooms, the men set their drinks down and followed him. Stone picked up his bourbon and tried to convince himself that they only needed to use the restroom themselves. The glass reached his lips, but he didn't take a drink. Damn it. He set the Knob Creek down. "Something wrong, sir?" the bartender asked. Stone frowned. "I think there might be. Anything I can help with?" As Stone and the bartender approached the men's restroom, a thud sounded from inside, followed by a moan of pain. Stone glanced at the bartender. "Call the police and get some help." The man nodded and raced back the way they'd come. Stone reached for the door as more thuds echoed from inside and yanked it open. The room was small, a stall, a urinal, and a sink. Weston was on the floor in front of the stall, curled in a fetal position, while one of the two brutes was in the middle of delivering a kick to his ribs. "I think that's enough," Stone said. The second man glanced at Stone. "Come back later if you know what's good for you." "You should be thinking about what's good for you." The guy turned to fully face Stone. "This is none of your—" "The police have already been called and are on their way." The talker glared at Stone, then said to his friend, "Deliver the message and let's get out of here." The other guy leaned down to Weston and hissed something into his ear that Stone couldn't hear. When he finished, he said in a louder voice, "Nod if you understand." Weston nodded. From the hall came the sound of several running feet. "You two should probably take a seat," Stone said. "You have a long night ahead of you." "Yeah, that's where you're wrong," the talker said, then glanced at his buddy. "Come on." As the two men made for the door, Stone stepped back into the hall to avoid being shoved out of the way. Right then, the bartender and the pair of waiters he'd brought with him skidded to a stop next to Stone. For a beat, Both groups stared at each other.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?